Hey guys, Boomfish TCG here, back at it again with another video. This time we're coming at you with Academic Rune. Gonna be honest, when I tried playing this, I gave it a good shot for pretty much one night. It didn't interest me past then, but I also didn't really like it that much. This deck is kind of weird. It involves a lot of grave setup, and then on top of that, it involves grabbing those cards back. There's not a lot of mill in this deck, and because of that, sometimes it gets a little bit awkward. If you're up against a mill player, however, maybe you're going to get away with that, but that's not every deck you're going up against. You're up against Festive and stuff like that. I do think that this deck can kind of struggle. I think it is kind of confused, because most of the things, like most of the benefits you get from this deck are when you have 10 academic cards in your grave, but you certainly cannot get that done consistently by turn 4, or if at all, and maybe turn 5, but yeah, very strange. So we're going to get into it. Starting off with Gray as Ember, simply a fine card. It does 2 damage to something, it's quick, that's fine. If there's 5 academic cards in your cemetery, deal 3 damage instead. Okay. I would have expected a little bit of face damage, because regular mages has that as like a little spice for their play. But it's whatever. It's solid. But again, 5 academic cards is not happening that quickly, so keep that in mind. We have Mr. Bertrand Magic Mentor. So choose one of the following. And this is something that I do think is quite weird. So you put a Mysterian Missile token into your EX. Okay, that's 2 mana, ping something for 3. And if you have 10 academic cards in your cemetery, deal 2 damage. Okay. Just so you guys know. For the majority of the game, there is no way to discount that token that you generate in your EX. And there's no overarching synergy with cards in your EX, so that's literally just a basic spell that isn't a quick. Honestly, it's pretty disappointing, but 2 mana deal 3 is whatever. But the thing that kind of pisses me off is this card doesn't say choose up to 2, because you can only do the second effect when you have 5 academic cards in the grave. And it wouldn't even be that broken, because this is anti-synergy. When you're at 5 academic cards and you grab a card from your grave, you're kind of screwing yourself over, because you want to be at 10. That's the magic number. And 15 is also good for you. So, like, removing a card and you having to choose it, even though that this is a 1-drop, kind of blows. And it also wouldn't be broken. I was very underwhelmed with this card. It's fine. You need to play it because you need like cheap mate, like academic support. But creating this missile is a lot worse than I thought it was. It's just fine. You have Mysterian Knowledge. So this is a 1 mana, draw 1, and you put a Mysterian Missile token in your EX. You have to reveal 2 academic cards from your hand, and that will happen. But in a super late game, if you're low on resources, this is a dead card off the top. That's not great. And again, it creates a token, but that's also not that great. So kind of weird. So you play 9 1-drops, and only 2 of them, 2 of them actually do something. But the thing they do isn't that incredible. So a little bit weird. You have Tico Mysterian Spell Nerd. It's a 2 mana 2/3 ward with no instant effect in a spell slinging deck. Okay. And then you look at the top card of your deck when this dies, and if it's an academic card, you can add it to your hand. When it dies. It's okay, man. But like in a spell slinging deck, it would be so much better and not broken if this happened on entry. None of the other cards in this deck benefit from like reviving these guys. Um, yeah, again, I'm pretty underwhelmed with this card. And you play 3 of it because it's an academic name. You just need those. So yeah, it's whatever. You play Owen. So if you have 5 academic cards in your grave, give this +1/+1 and a sail. Strike, you create a Mysterian Missile token into your EX. So that's nice. A 4/3 for 2 is nice. Creating the tokens, okay. Yeah, it's a lot better than the other one. So it's a decent 2-drop. We have Mysterian Wormist. So this is 2 mana. You may discard a card, and if you do, draw. But if you don't do that, you just lose the card altogether. So, yeah, this you're discarding that card, or this is the worst card in the game. Unless it's discounted, which this deck can do. So that would put 2 names into the grave. And then you can evo this if you have 5 academic cards in your grave. Okay, let's take a look. So, evo does, it's a 5/5 ward, and on evo you heal 3. Pretty good. So if you have those numbers, then you get to evo this. This is a nice card. And then you, on evo, get to ping the opponent for 3, and this has a sail, which is also pretty good. So if you have the numbers, again, this is a very strong 2-drop. And when you get to play this for a discounted price, that's really strong. We then move on to Greya, Scorching Fury. So you discard a card and draw. And then if you have 5 academic cards in your cemetery, you put a Resentful Blaze token into your EX. I'll put that up on the screen. And you tap and select an enemy follower on the field and deal 1/1. That's it? You gotta be kidding me, man. This said 2, it wouldn't even be that broken. But it's just 1. That's useless. This is a 2-mana 2/2, okay? It would not be a sin for this to have 2/3, because you're immediately making this vulnerable for it to die. And yet you're just, sure, it's got a discard draw synergy. Awesome. If you have the 5, it's going to create the token. But when you're playing this early game for that, all you have is a really bad 2-drop. If this said ping the enemy follower for 1 and the enemy leader for 1, maybe we had something here. But yet again, it's just a very disappointing card in my opinion. We have Craig, which is super necessary for this deck, and yeah, there's a reason it's at 3. You run all of, like, pretty much everything at 3 just because you need academic cards, but especially this card. So draw, discard, cool. And then when you evo him, you draw a discard. Considering you need your numbers, it's a very good card to open with. If you're going second, it's very good. You get your numbers rolling, but like you still need to do so much to get there. And the new support that you get, and definitely like a selling point of the deck, is you discard an academic card to draw. Cool. If there's 5 academic cards in your grave, you put a summoning into your EX, and then tap. You may play Rending Blast from your Evo deck. Sure, you can only do this if there's 15. So I'm going to give you a few scenarios here. If you're playing, if this is one of the 2-drops that you open with, like the 2-drop you open with, and you're like, man, I need the discard and I can't get rid of the hand. This card feels so horrible to play for 2 because you now have lost part of your end game. You have ways of grabbing this back, okay? So it's not the worst, but it's just so tough to play this on 2 because all it does is you cycle and it's got bad stats. And then if you have the 5, sure, you get a fully costed token that I'm also going to put up on the screen that you then have to play for what, maybe, I don't remember the cost, but it's either a decent turn 4 or a decent turn, or a kind of a bad turn 5, depending on the cost of this card. And Then if you have 15 late game, okay, let's see. It plays Rending Blast. What does this do? All it does is 8 damage to the opponent. Not 8 damage to the opponent and then some to the board. Just you hit them. This is not a great payoff. It's not flexible. It's not like the flexibility here is the and summoning token, and that's going to be able to answer the board. But 15 academic cards is such a like a far off dream, I feel, that it's not realistic to depend on that. It's just something that you're naturally going to get to, and you just have to hope that your mediocre tokens you've been generating for the entire game that aren't quicks are somehow going to let you survive. Again, as we've covered for what the majority of the deck, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is probably roughly about 20 cards in the deck, maybe more at this point. None of these have overarching synergies with the token, the Mysterian Missile. And because of that, this deck really feels underwhelming. I'm going to be honest. People play this deck, okay? I simply don't understand why. People like Academic. People played at 12-13 because it was one of the most represented Rune decks you could play during that format. But I don't get it. If you have any understanding of how this deck functions, please tell me. But like, in my humble opinion, for some reason, it just kind of blows. We have Greya Mysterian Dragoness. Okay, so you've seen 3 cards so far, including this, that say Greya. The first one was a pink spell that was mediocre. This one. The second one was a 2-drop that was mediocre or kind of bad. Sure. Unless you're generating the token, then that's probably fantastic. Or good. Probably just good at that point. What does Greya do? So, this is going to drive me insane. This is a 3-mana 3/3 that does nothing on 3. I want to repeat that. This is a 3-mana 3/3 that came out in set 9 that on turn 3 is a vanilla. If you're going second, let's take a look at the effect. You search your deck for a Greya's Ember, put it into your EX. It costs 1 less to play, so it makes it free. And while this is on your field, if an academic spell would deal 1 damage, it deals +1 more. Okay, so you now have a chance to deal 3, and I guess at this point, you probably have 5, maybe not really, because this card, honestly, if this card at its base form had a draw discard, I wouldn't be mad, but for some strange reason, it doesn't. Why does this card not discard? Everything in the deck should, to try and get you there. This card is functionally useless to what Academic is trying to do because it doesn't put cards in the grave. It is removal, and when you start cashing out your tokens, if for some reason this is alive, yeah, you are going to ping them in the face. I'm going to give that to you, Academic players. Like, I understand that. But, like, why does this card not put cards in the grave? It's just it's just a very strange thing for the deck. It doesn't quite make sense to me. It's fine in the Evo. Like, again, if this sticks around, you're going to genuinely like it. But in its base form, it's useless. If you have 10 cards in your grave, sure, dude, this deals 4. At that point, that's probably okay, right? You're probably going to answer stuff, but 10, if you play this deck, you will understand how far off a dream 10 is, man. Like, oh my god. Moving on from that, we have the best card in the deck, okay? I don't really care about anything else. This card is crazy. So you reveal an academic follower in your hand, select an enemy follower, deal it 2. Alright? The fact that that's conditional is already kind of crazy. While this is on your field, any academic follower you play costs 1 less. Sure. But as we've revealed, most of these 2-drops are either okay at best, or like kind of good. The exception is this guy, and then if you have an Evo point, this guy, because being able to get a 5/5 for 2 mana total is kind of crazy. So I'll give you that, okay? And its Evo is a simple deal 3 damage to something. Can't complain about that. Naturally, as I said, this is the best card in the entire deck. The discounts is really something. That kind of leans into why some of the effects have to be so bad, because like if all the 2-drops were broken, chances are that the deck would be too much to deal with, because you'd be able to flood out on turn 4 like it's nothing going second, and you'd probably be able to fold over your opponent. But outside of that, like if you're just dealing with a handful of these stupid 2-drops, you're probably going to have a really tough game. Moving on, we have Anne, Mysterian Prodigy. So you choose one of the following. If you have 10, you choose 2. So you can search your deck for Anne's Sorcery, put it into your EX, and it costs 5 less. Or you can search your deck for a Greya, Mysterian Dragoness, and summon it. So if you have 10 by turn 6, which is understandable, yeah, and Mysterian is pretty strong. And if for some ungodly reason you'd be able to discount this while you have 10 in grave, yeah, you're probably winning the game. But I just listed some kind of specific stuff to happen. But again, not the craziest stuff in the world. So from deck, it summons this one. And if you have 10, right, it's going to do the first effect. Evo, it's going to do the second effect. All right, all of that's good business. And so in that instance, I'm going to give it to Anne Mysterian Prodigy. It's a good card. Okay. Yeah, I can't say no to it. You do need those numbers though. And all I'm saying is I'm just kind of underwhelmed. Anne's Sorcery. This is the card that you get to put into your EX, and you can make it free. You choose one of the following. You can select an enemy leader, and you can deal 4 damage and draw a card. That's nice, considering you're doing it for free. That's fine. If you have to pay 5 for this card is so bad. So bad. Oh, okay, but let's be honest here. If you're paying 3, you get to additional, right? So this would be for 8 total. So this only makes it 5 less, so you would need 3 floating in order to do this additional effect. Select an enemy leader or follower. If you have 10 academic cards in your grave, deal 8 damage. By the time you're doing that effect, yeah, you're gonna have 10. But it not being a board clear kind of sucks ass. All you're doing is damage to one thing and drawing 2 for 8. 8 mana, dude. You know what Kuon does for 8 mana? It ends the game. All you're doing is 8 damage to one thing, dude. It's not a board clear. Are you kidding me? They have to balance it because you can make it free, but the fact that you don't even get the benefit of it being broken on turn 6 is, in my opinion, kind of silly. The conditions in order for you to do that secondary effect discounted in the same turn is just, you're jumping through so many hoops, man. Don't even get me started. We have this 4-drop at the end. Okay. It's a 4 mana 2/2. I hope its Evo actually does something. Take a look at the top 5. You put up to 2 academic cards in your EX, and they cost 2 less to play. All right, that's good. I'm not even joking. That's really good. I'm a bit surprised that it's at 1, because that's actually a really nice card. You get to swarm out. As you can see, the entire deck kind of functions around 2 cost. So there's no bad part about that. And considering what you could hit, that's going to get you your numbers pretty quickly in your grave. So again, I'm kind of surprised this is that 1. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not very happy with this deck. But I can't take away for how it performed in Japan, during set 12-13. So with that, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 Boomfish. I'm not happy with this deck, but a lot of people are. I can't really explain it, but you could probably dig into it, play. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I played it wrong. But yeah, I'm unsatisfied. But a 4 out of 5 is safe because I didn't get enough experience to truly understand why people like this deck. So that's 4 Boomfish out of 5. I'm gonna leave it there. I'll catch you next time and stay tuned. Peace.